You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, all.
I saw Minnesota Twins, huh? What's with that?
I didn't hear what happened.
Chris Rooney and Kirk Cousins brought him to victory.
It was nice of you to do that.
I know. I went to the game yesterday.
You did?
Actually, Nick, I sent you a picture to throw it up there. It's a celebration.
He's like, what?
Yeah, well, I just
can see
sent
his confusion by his face.
like a second ago.
He goes,
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
well, you're in kind of a fun room there, Chris.
This is my kitchen.
Oh.
Look,
No
it's kinda
secrets
clean.
on those upper cabinets, huh?
What's that?
No secrets with those upper shelves.
Everything's out there, man.
Love it.
Hey, you don't have a big, huge pantry, don't you? Kind of in that.
I do, yeah. I just don't do
in
my
that back
podcast
room.
from there, but
You used to do your podcast. Yeah.
yeah, no, we did. We a couple years back we redid. Went from regular shelving to the like a built-in style system, and it with granite countertops and changed the wood species in there. Kind of went with all white, and we have maple, like you can see behind me, kind of right here, throughout the house. But we went with white in there. It really looked nice.
Yeah, I went to kind of a chiropractor, but it was more like healthy type chiropractor. And so she did all these tests on me, and basically there's nothing I can eat. I'm like,
we're getting to that age, aren't we?
allergic to everything. Yeah.
Well, that or you know, like what's really interesting is so having a few of our buddies where, you know, I got one buddy that, you know, had a heart attack a couple years ago, so he's on a heart healthy diet, and you go, oh, maybe that's what I should do, and then you start looking at the heart healthy diet, and you're like, nah, and then, you know, you start, but it's different because these diets are not all the same, and there's not one catch all for everybody, you know, that everybody should be on, or, you know, way to eat, or one, you know, so it's, I think moderation is kind of the what I'm sticking to.
She explained my situation, and it's like you got to shop around the outside of the grocery store and do nothing in the middle. So it's everything so natural food. So I know her and my wife have been conspiring against me. I guarantee it.
You know, I like my doctor. He literally throws the old Andy, hey buddy, just throw a salad in there once in a while. That's all I'm asking you to do. He didn't tell me to go on a diet. He just goes, just chuck a little salad in there once in a while and see what happens.
I don't mind salads, but they said I can't have cottage cheese, I can't have cheese or salad dressing. I mean, what's a salad without salad dressing?
Yeah.
To me, it makes no sense because in the Mediterranean, they eat all the pasta, lasagna, the meat, the seafood, drink a lot of wine, smoke so many cigarettes. Yeah, it's got to be the ingredients. And well, then, you know, they walk around too. You know, in USA, all you do is drive and, you know, not much working out. But it's the food's got to be poisoned. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we did that with Matt Aarons that one time we were talking to him. He started an organic thing, and everything's just more natural, and you have zero issues. There's a thing on Prime, Amazon Prime. It's called the Magic Pill. And I was watching it. There's these kids with autism that were eating like normal food. All of a sudden, they put them on all these, you know, and what I'm saying is just normal food, things that grow on plants and, you know, and fall off, and meat and vegetables. And these kids started talking. They were like mute. They couldn't even talk before. And now they're talking. So
yeah.
More conspiracies, Andy. More conspiracies, just like this.
I'm sorry I'm laughing. I just had a customer of mine say they saw me driving my truck yesterday, and they said we took a picture of it. And
that's totally
free body piercings. Come take my machine guns. Try that in a small town. That is not, by the way, That is not my truck. It is my truck, but they imposed political stuff.
Oh, did they really? Oh,
that's all fake. That's really if you look, I don't know. This is horrible. I apologize. You look through, see on the bottom how it says, the do it today call. That is me.
Oh, really?
That's funny.
Yeah. Andy, I'll never forget, Andy pulled into the radio station and we had met many times before that, but it was never like I went out and walked him to his car, but we were in a parking ramp in the back of his car. I mean, he's like a moving, he's just like I don't even know, I wouldn't call it it's a bulletin board, but I'd call it more of a postcard. I mean, everything around it is totally minted out, and it looks really nice, but it's like advertising galore. So I thought they were making fun of that.
Probably.
Yeah.
That and they always try to get me for something, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I love my customers, because I just throw it out there, they throw it back, and it's fun. And you know what's funny is that I have clients that are completely on the different spectrum politically. And, you know, like when we were doing CCO stuff, you'd have some guys that are way over here, and then you get somebody that's way over here. And I kind of float around in the middle and I laugh. And it's funny, actually, when you take politics to a joking level, you can have a lot of fun with people, you know, as long as they're all lighthearted and have fun with it. As soon as they turn into that's not right, then they're like, stop talking.
That is over.
Yeah.
So how about our little market handy?
Yeah. The thing is that I've learned to stop, saying things like the market's crazy or it's whatever, because it's not. It's just an adjusting market. It's constantly somebody's turning up the hot tub and a few people are jumping out. You know, it's getting too hot. It's getting too expensive, whatever you want to say. People are adjusting to what's happening, and it keeps adjusting. I think that there is no doubt in my mind that either the Fed is trying to destroy housing or bring it to a point of where it's so weak that everybody becomes a renter and nobody wants to own a house anymore. And I'm only saying that because it's to the point now where it's been too much too fast. Imagine any industry, anybody that's watching this right now, let's quadruple the cost of your goods to your clients and see how you survive, right? Mm-hmm. Not to mention the fact that it affects most of Americans' wealth. It's the biggest wealth generator that's out. And so, there's a lot of factors there that really make you kind of run down that conspiracy path of why would somebody continue to do this? Now, inflation does need to control itself, and we do need to do a lot of things, but I do think that they need to carve out a little niche for housing and still maintain that housing can be somewhat affordable, because they're making the problem worse. It's not like, the government's going to help us make housing affordable, and they asked for another $300 million in the bill this year for Minnesota for housing, more affordable housing. And then they raise our taxes, and they have inflation going crazy, and they raise interest rates, which technically, if you put that in the inflation factor, is the opposite of what they're trying to do. They're just they're double dipping on us. And I think it's going to start to show here a little more as we proceed through the end of the year.
I still think that inventory is so low that it just takes a lot longer. It's not happening overnight, but like I said, I don't know if I said this last week because I think I had got them both sold by then, but we had two listings that are just under 400,000. One went 16,000 over, the other one 31,000 over. So it's still happening, but it's gotta be good. You gotta do what you gotta do to get it ready. You can't kind of like skip on it, and so.
Right. So I think if I'm hearing what you're saying, just because it's low inventory doesn't mean it needs low attention. And you know what I'm saying? You still need to do your due diligence to maximize your returns, because people are looking for a reason to pick on you because they feel like they've been picked on, right? So they're coming at those sellers and saying, hey, this is wrong, that's wrong. We need a reduction. I need closing costs paid. I need whatever. Or if you come to market with a beautiful house that is priced fair, you're going to get at or above, and it's going to sell quick, and you're going to have a good buyer. And that's what a lot of my clients, when we've coached them through this, we've had just home runs, man. I mean, we're selling the houses fast. We're selling them for top dollar. We're getting things sold quickly. We're getting them into the next house. And with a couple of my recent ones, I mean, we've gotten such crazy deals on the purchase on the other ones because they're moving to markets where they're going from like a hot market to a medium, intensity market. and they're really experiencing a heck of a value. So like I always say, the downsides are that selling their McMansion and they're downsizing up to the lake. There's some opportunities there for sure.
Yeah, I was doing a little analysis the other day, and on things that I've got some listings of over $1 million, and it was really interesting. Kind of the south of the river, $1.2 million active TNS or pending, over $1.2 million. There was 21 of them, and only one was pending, and 2 were on the way. And then if you went down from $1 million to $1.2 million, there was 6 pending. And so it was kind of interesting to kind of see like where they were grabbing, but all of a sudden, the lake had been a little slow in Prior Lake, but all of a sudden, boom, 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 like 3 of them sold right away. And so it's that's what you need. You need people that kind of feel like, hey, I've got to start moving, because a lot of people right now just feel like they can just kind of hang tight, wait it out. Let's see if something happens. And especially when we come to the lake, I've always loved the fall, because it's one of those things like, hey, am I going to miss another spring? Because when you go by in the spring, people don't put their house on until it looks good. And so once they put it on, then it's like they don't want to close until after July 4th. Well, there you missed another whole lake season. So they're really looking to buy in the fall and grab into something and start off in the spring the right way.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it's those markets, you're right on the money on that stuff. I think that there's, when you look into like the seasonality or the lifestyle, and what's really kind of cool now is with the way that people are investing into lake homes. Now, I always think of a little farther north, right? I mean, I know you like to concentrate kind of in the Prior and all the, the south and west metro and that kind of areas. The houses are year round now. So it's like you're hearing people say, well, we'd like to really have Thanksgiving at the lake, or we'd really like to have the holidays, or we want to be up there for snowmobiling season, or like one of my other clients, we just put them up on Gull Lake in Brainerd, and they're like, we want to be up there for the big St. Patrick's Day. We love that up in Cross Lake, and we love to every year go there, and we want to snowmobile there. So our new house is going to be on the lake. We can snowmobile down the Paul Bunyan up to that way. And, so it's like, it's really cool to see people maximizing the activities. And, and that's what I think a lot of people, why wouldn't you want it? If you can afford it, why wouldn't you do it?
Here's the other thing, is that based on a lifestyle, people are just kind of, they just they want something that's going to make them happy. And if you can live in something that makes you happy all year round, it's worth the money to be able to spend it and add things to it. I mean, I just had another client that's adding a pool. I mean, no one adds a pool right now, but hey, that's what they want, and that's what they want to enjoy, and they're staying in their house, so it's great, So yeah, that's what I think a lifestyle does for you.
For sure.
All right, boys, I'm gonna get into some rage bait maybe CBS News is doing, but they have a video here, and it's the title of this episode: "Homes Unaffordable 99% of the Nation for Average Americans." So let me pop this video up here and let's hear your guys' thoughts. Yeah, no, it's pretty.
99% of average.
Oh, okay.
All right, hold on one second.
99% is hard to fight with, though. I mean, even if it's 20% off, it's still a lot of freaking people.
To buy a home right now is facing a double challenge amid the Federal Reserve's efforts to slow inflation.
According to a new report, the impact of rising interest rates on new mortgages has put home ownership beyond the reach for many. The average 30-year fixed mortgage is now higher than 7%, which means that for somebody who has a non-fixed mortgage or a new mortgage, that's going to add hundreds of dollars to monthly payments. Homeowners who may have locked in lower interest rates in the past are now, as a result, hesitant to sell. That means less inventory, which also means higher home prices. As of August, the median price nationwide is more than $407,000, and that's nearly 4% higher than just a year ago.
Joining us now is CBS Money Watch reporter Christopher Brooks. So, Christopher, when we are talking about income versus monthly payments, what is the definition now of unaffordable?
That's a great question, and it depends on really like which standard you're using. So if you ask the mortgage industry or if you ask the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, it's somewhere between 28% of your annual income or 30%, somewhere around that area, the high 20s and the low 30s. But what's significant about this data that just came out is it's showing that if you get a house today, factoring in your mortgage payment and your property taxes, you got to get homeowners insurance, you'll end up paying somewhere around 35% of your annual income to afford a house. So that's way, way higher than what normal standards would consider affordable.
Yeah, and I have to imagine, Chris, that there is a differential among different demographic groups. Is that true? Are there some?
I'm not going into the rest of that.
I was going to say that was just starting to get good. I wanted to hear what he had to say, but so here's the thing, guys. What was it? 2 years ago, we were talking about this and affordability. The average home buyer at that time was putting 18% of their income towards their payment at the time because rates were so low and costs were low. This is where they talk about how interest rates going up are actually going to create inflation again because they went up so fast that people now can't afford to buy, right? So what ends up happening is they sit there and I have to ask for a raise at work. I can't even afford my house. I have blah, blah, blah. Now people start asking for more money again, and all of a sudden there's no orders coming in, and you're creating a complete crap show. And it's going to get to the point of where it's going to get ugly on some situations for, and price ranges. Here's the thing. I always rest on this. 28% of the market was cash in the last month. That interest rate that they quoted at 7.19 is inaccurate. It's actually 7.62 right now. And they're afraid it's going to go over 8% by the end of the month. So that's where we're really at. And as that keeps going up, it just keeps taking people's affordability away. So people list their houses. There's just not as many people because those people kind of went down the rankings. Now they can afford this level of house instead of this level of house. So unless you're cash.
But what's happening, it's hurting a lot of people, but the actual real estate market's not getting destroyed because there's not a lot of inventory. So what's happened is that all that stuff has just come down. And what happened before is, we didn't have much inventory before. And this people start like, hey, you know what? Let's sell it. And there was a bunch of people gobbling up. It just kept moving. But now it's just not. It's kind of just like you got to be patient, and that's the hard thing for people right now because it's all they hear. We had 5 showings in 1 week on a listing, and people are like, "Oh my God, that's horrible," and I'm like, "No, that's not. That's not bad at all." Especially with price range. Yeah, so it's you see people doing a lot more open houses, trying to get people through. We had one last week that had 13 people through. We had another one that had 1 person through. So it's kind of a hit and miss, and it's just going to take a little longer. You got to just make sure that you're positioned correctly. You're adapting to what else is coming onto the market. You're watching what's coming on the market. You're giving the buyer the information that they need to make a decision with, and it's going to happen. It will happen.
Yeah, I think there's always an optimistic spin on everything, and it's easy to dwell on the negative. That's where our mind really wants to go, is into that. Everything's horrible. It sucks. It's whatever. On the other hand, you look at the quality of the new houses being built. You look at the energy efficiencies of these houses. You look at when you pay a little bit more to buy like a new house, for an example. A lot of these builders are buying down the interest rates, which means you probably paid a little bit more to get the house, but nobody wants to talk about that. But you're getting that house that doesn't require a lot of maintenance for the next 10 years. So, I think that's why you're also seeing a trend towards a lot of people are buying the new built houses. When they're taking that leap, they're saying, you know what, let's just go for it. Let's get the new house and own a new house, bucket list checked. And I think so. The market's moving all over the place right now. And I think that as you're entering the market as a seller or a buyer, just be aware of that. I always say you want to employ somebody, your real estate agent or whatever, that understands what's happening in the marketplace and doesn't act like they're a victim of it too. You need to have strategies. You need to be intentional, and you need to react to what's happening around you to be successful. And I think you can navigate this market really easy. You just got to really pay attention.
I think too that how you use those stats. It says 99% of Americans can't afford it. Well, there's a lot of Americans that are in loans that stretch that percentage, and that's what people are doing. They are stretching that percentage. So that 35%, is really you can get better than that. That's what I'm saying. And that's what people are doing. They're stretching it.
But here's how I would respond to that. I'd say, actually, instead of quoting what could be the situation, why don't you quote what actually is the situation? The average person pulling a mortgage right now, how much are they averaging when they put money down? How much is being put down? What percentage of their income to their loan is the average right now with people buying the houses? And it's still lower than that. It's extremely lower than that. It's not at 35%. In some situations it probably is, but for most, it's not. Most people have so much equity in their existing house. They go, oh my God, that's $100,000 more than I thought, or $200,000 more than I thought. They're not blowing that money on a new car. They're taking that equity and they're putting it into the next purchase, which brings that payment right back down to where it's affordable again. They're putting $400,000, $600,000 down on these houses, and not everybody has that. But the buyers that are out there buying right now, a lot of them are doing that.
Yeah.
So
we got some good news here from Minnesota specifically. And Andy, I know you've talked about it a lot, about what first-time home buyers and how interesting this generation is. And you've met a lot of good people making money. So it's going to be brought to you by Mr. Andy Prasky.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Andy Prasky, RE/MAX Advantage Plus, Andy@Prasky.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing, 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and I would like to put it to work for you. Andy Prasky, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show.
All right, so Minnesota's heating up with the, young home buyers under 25. Have you guys noticed this? Have you seen this? We all hear the Generation Z is screwed, but they're approaching highest rates in Minnesota history here. Look at this. Under 25 ownership rate is approaching a new high.
Good.
I haven't really felt that. I've had some, under $400,000 listings, and maybe one of them, those guys was under 25, but all the other ones, it was interesting. It was kind of the opposite. It was kind of an older crew purchasing and kind of
the good old Midwest.
What's that?
So it looks like it's the good old Midwest is the shining star here.
Yeah. Well,
dark is good, I guess.
East and West Coast are always the ones that are, the prices are higher. So it's probably coming down to being here. Do you think parents are helping kids out a lot more? I've got one right now.
They feel like their kids are getting set up where they may never catch up to what they have. And so parents are really focusing on legacy right now and having something that the kids are part of and can own. And, I don't know.
Well, helping them out get into a home. So let's just say. So under 25 share of home purchase loans are 7%. Okay. 4591. That's quite a few people. Medium loan amount, $215. There you go, Andy. There's the loan amount. It's not $407,000. I'll tell you that. And then what's with that interest rate? Is that because they're buying down, or is that just the stats over? Yeah, a year old or something. I can't see that.
If that was
October
accurate,
4th.
If that was even within a year, it would quote 6 and 7% on average. So,
yeah.
They just released this article October 4th. So,
I have no doubt that they release articles all the time that are really nice articles that don't have accurate info. That's the problem with America right now, man. Freedom of speech sucks in this way because they can put anything they want out there to spin it any way they want. And, and I'm excited for young people. I've always been that way. I support young kids wanting to buy houses, getting into something they can afford, or they buy a duplex and they live in one side, rent out the other. But, strategy, you have to be mentally prepared for that because now you're buying lawnmowers. You're not buying video games. You're you know what I mean? You're buying weed whackers for your Christmas gift instead of getting, whatever. And I just think that, kids, as they become young adults right now, I think it's the parents. I really do. I think it's the parents encouraging them to say, hey, you may want to get in on this. If this trend keeps going, you and all your friends will not own houses and we're going to become a generation of renters. And I don't know if you guys, the more interesting article about this was with what is it, Blackstone or what is that investment group? I think it's Blackstone, and they run by Larry Fink, and they were talking about how they're starting to buy houses, house after house after house after house, and that's why a lot of that cash, they say the cash buyers are actually investment firms. They were saying by the end of 2030 that they will own close to 50% of the single family homes for sale. And I'm like, oh my God.
Talking about controlling the market.
Oh my, well, they want everybody to be a renter. I mean, guys, wake up.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There
was something really interesting about that same company. They owned like 87% of the company. It's on the S&P 500. And I mean, they're very powerful. They own like a majority stake in like Amazon and Google and all these. They own big percentages of those companies. And I'm like, scatty.
We wonder why all these things are so screwy. So, yeah. Again, it's speculation. We don't know whatever, but it's pretty obvious.
I source track everything. I don't just.
When was your article dated, Andy?
Last week.
Okay.
But because it meant something to me, then I believe it's real.
But I wonder sometimes if those rates and stuff are, buy downs. I mean, what do you think, Andy, about contract for deeds? I just think people are going to start doing them. I really do. And I think they should. There's due on sale clauses, which check with your attorney, but I just think there's a lot of that going to happen because people can give a 6% interest rate and make 3 or 4% on their money doing that. Right. The buyer's going to have a great deal. They'll be able to pay, the price for it. I mean, and then you just put it out 3 or 4 years. It's a great idea. It really is.
Absolutely. I think that there's a lot of people that are still like thinking the government's the solution. Eventually that generation will also realize they screwed this up for us. They raised rates. They did this. They printed too much money. They did. And also you're going to realize, hey, let's focus on trading goods and services. Let's make a life for my family and myself. And I'm going to work hard. I'm going to own things. I'm not going to be in debt. I want to live a free life. I don't want to have all this burden of debt and college debts and all this other crap that everybody keeps putting on these kids. I mean, I don't mean to sound so like an old man here, but oh my God, it's you and I, Chris, when we graduated, you probably had some scholarship for your athletic abilities, but I remember we were, playing, or I was going to school at the U, and I remember back, graduated high school '89, and then we went through school. I want to say it was $6,000 or $7,000 a year with books and everything, and now that same classroom is like $32,000, and it's crazy.
Oh.
And these kids don't have the money and their parents don't have the money. So what do? They put it all into debt and they slim it out, and then they don't make enough money to support. I still think, this is me, Andy Prasky. I think if you're a college, you have to be responsible for the outcome of the students you have. And that if you're teaching them a craft that does not historically make enough money to support the education they just invested into, you should be gifting that to them. And that's where I'm like, so I'm talking like, let's say you want to be a nonprofit or whatever, and you're going to work at a nonprofit. Well, you don't make a lot of money. You shouldn't have to pay $200,000 to get that education and not make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? That should be their gift back, out of their dowry or whatever they call that. Anyway, sorry. Let's talk real estate.
Hey, I got a solution. So you guys can take your families to this little ghost town in Minnesota, a complex here, old Air Force base. Pretty interesting for $800,000. Let's check it out.
It's for sale?
Mm-hmm.
Ghost town. I like ghost towns.
All right, so
looks
like Finland, Minnesota.
Looks like tear it down town based on that picture. 101 acres, a former Air Force base. In Finland, that's up by Duluth, right?
There's Rooney Town.
There it is.
It said it had views of Lake
I want
Superior.
nicer roads. I need nicer roads than that, Andy. Where would I charge my Tesla?
Look at all that. I was going to say something gross, but I'll leave it alone.
So it was an Air Force base. obviously. I mean,
Where
it's
was
all
the
kind of
plans?
like row housing.
Show me the hangars.
So 100 acres, 43 single-family residences, variety of 3 and 4 bedroom homes. What?
We should
How
should buy this for Nick so he can start his cult.
There you go. There you go.
Nick could have all of his beautiful women living in these houses.
I'm confused though. So does the government not take care of their stuff? They just let it go to hell, or what? This is
Yeah,
Well,
sure. They
sure.
just
military.
looks like it's been abandoned.
Yeah.
I don't think
that's
the government.
pretty
The
gross.
government's not the seller, though, is it? Look at that. They still got appliances there, Andy. Oh, look at that. Little. We could have a school up there.
Nice.
They've got. This is total a Charles Manson type thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what you could do there? I mean, those. I'll tell you what happens. So it's $800,000, but
Can you
the
look at that on a
upkeep-
map, like to see where physically it's located?
Yeah,
Nick,
I'll find.
or doesn't it have an address?
But if you think about 43 homes that are not taken care of, I mean, and then what about the services to it? More than like it's got to be well and septic, So
I would assume, yeah.
I mean, those are all old septics. So doing all those or trying to do a community system, it's very. Oh, cool.
Oh wow.
So it's on Superior.
That's the 101 acres right there that's circled.
That's Finland,
No.
Minnesota.
That's the whole.
Oh,
town.
that's the whole town. Okay.
Yep.
So by Murray and okay.
You're up there a ways.
Hey Nick, put it on the satellite view. I want to see how high it is. If it's a high area or down.
Layers.
Yep.
There you go. Sweet.
Can't really tell, but that's all like real high area.
Do they have the naval base or the base there marked?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure it's really old. Interesting.
Well, it looks like it was built in the 70s. I didn't know we had an Air Force base up there.
God, Andy, I think it probably before that. You think those homes were 70s?
Yeah,
50s,
well, they have
60s?
windows with double panes that look like. So that puts you into the 70s or 80s.
Was there any more pictures, Nick, on that?
We're
I
both
got-
interested. I mean, this is intriguing.
I know.
I mean, think about you're paying about a little over $1,000 an acre or under $1,000 an acre, and you're getting 43 houses that could be potentially fixed up. I don't know what you could do with if it's rentals.
I
or you
think
can
that's
live
where
with
the money
whatever you
comes
want.
in. If you had to, the money is really in the fix up stuff, but it's kind of interesting. It looks like it's high.
Yeah, it looks like it's up on a hill for sure.
I wonder if that could be like you could maybe add a campground up there or something. I don't know.
I don't know if anybody's interested in putting an offer in. I'd love to help you. I think that'd be a blast.
Andy, you could bring your Bobcat up there and you could tear down places for them.
I could make stuff look so good.
Ooh, awesome.
I
would be
think
fun.
you're right though, Chris. The expense would be how many of the houses are actually closed in 1980. See that?
So it was there for 30 years. So it was 1950 it started.
Eerily empty property operated as a self-sustaining airbase.
Wow.
Interesting.
There you go. Price is modest, but look at all the work you have to do. Yeah, that's true.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Also, investor transformed the former site of a Cold War era Air Force radar station into something special? Question mark.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
What's buried up there?
Exactly. I was like, maybe if they had a one of those the missile silos, that'd be pretty sweet.
You're not kidding. Let's go up and look at it, Andy.
I'm in. This is something I would totally get into.
We
And then
can buy
I
it
get
with
into how much did you invest into this and why did you buy it?
We could have it as a retreat for all of our clients to go to.
Oh my gosh, for sure. Nobody would go, but we can think that. That'd be
Totally.
great.
At least we.
You're like, how many miles north of Duluth is it? No.
Well, you could use Andy's helicopter to go up there.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
A lot of question marks there. But really intriguing for sure. Just the land alone, even if you went in there and burnt all the houses down, the land's got to be worth that at least.
Someone with a lot of money could have some fun there.
So. Yeah, well, even if you made it into a piece of hunting land, for whatever.
Totally. All right.
Good
find, boys, let's
Nick.
get into our thank you. Let's get into our little Minnesota luxury real estate. We're going to spotlight Prior Lake, a $4 million home on a little acreage here. It's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Ooh, Ludwig said it could have been a radar base.
Yeah, that's what it did say in the notes if you read it.
Did it? Lud probably was stationed there in 1950.
Exactly.
You don't like that. Okay.
If I see your face in the window of any of these listings, Chris.
Yeah. This is Annie's Acres. This is right by
the guard shack as you come in. That's nice.
I showed that thing like 5 times. Now these owners purchased it. I mean, they got it. Totally stole it. It was like $2 million, I think, maybe something close to that. And now, 2 years later, it's listed at $4 million. Is that right? Yep, look at that, $2 million. And 2 years ago. Oh my God, not even. But it needed some updating, and I know these guys did. I've looked into this listing, but it sits on like 11 acres. You can see that the main picture there. It's like a complex. I mean, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
There's like walking trail, a tarred walking trail around the whole thing, so you can walk around. There's a tennis court. There's a pool. There's a pool house, and there's a guard gate. You see that little gate right there in the driveway?
Yeah, let's whip through some pictures.
That's a guard's gate, and so it's real fun. A guy that owned it before dealt with a lot of cash and stuff like that, and he had set this thing up super nice. There's for the dogs in the basement. He had all these police dogs. It's really cool. So yeah, they've updated this. I think there's going to be some. Yeah, see, there's the pool.
Look at all the buildings. Just all the buildings alone. My goodness.
Well, there's a little. Go back one more, Nick. That aerial shot. There we go. So that pool's huge, by the way. But that's the pool house on the left-hand side. And then, the house is monstrous. It's got a bunch of updates. I don't know if you can see. We can't see it because it's down. See the garage way on the upper right?
Yes.
That's an extra garage. But kind of between the pool house and the garage and those trees is a yoga studio.
Wow.
I don't think you can. Oh, yeah, you can. See the little turret above the house garage? You can see a little.
Right here.
It's right above. Keep coming
the
over,
house,
Nick.
Left. There you
go. Right there to the right.
Yep.
Right there.
Let's do the pictures. They got to have pictures of all that, right?
Yeah. So it's just. Oh, there it is. You can see it there. See it in the trees? There's the little yoga studio. So they have little sitting areas and stuff. And when we were there looking at it the first time, there was they had a bunch of mulch. But I brought a couple out there, and they were doing landscaping that day, that mulch and stuff. There was 15 guys out there doing mulch. 15. They have 3 big fountains. That's the driveway to enter into it. It's a good looking place. I think they're doing the right thing, actually, because the people that are looking at it they know that there's a bunch of expenses that on a monthly just to keep that thing going. Because it's a lot of place. So it's got to be the right person that's going to afford it. But they updated it and did some nice things. There's a picture in here I think we're going to see, Andy. Oh, that's that's above that garage, right when you come in through the gate. That's above the garage. Yep, that garage right there. So there's an under garage, a main garage, and then the upstairs.
Oh, dude, that's sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, they have that's the yoga studio.
I don't know if the placement of these photos is as good as it could be, but I mean, you're really jumping around.
We're going backwards. This is the pool house. This is the pool house. That's the bottom floor, and then you got the upstairs. There it is. There's the pool house. I mean, it's nicer than most houses.
That's pool house.
So this right here is the under garage from the main house, and this is where all the dogs were stored, and where they had cages and everything. They've changed it up. Yeah, they've made this. They really kind of updated it, but you still, you get those big tiles, and there's a lot of updates. They did a lot of painting here. They're really kind of cool looking.
Yeah, it looks great.
No. There's
not many houses, Chris, we look at where you actually say, that does look like about a $4 million house. This really does look like a $4 million with the estate and all the other extra buildings and the tuck under garages and in my head, as I'm going through these, I'm adding stuff up in my head. You know what I mean? And I'm going, it's all there. Here's
the other thing too, is that what's going to hold this thing down was always the kitchen for that size of a house. I think the kitchen. Oh, you know what they did too? They actually painted everything. There was some painter that came in from like Africa and did all the painting for this house, and it was unreal, super expensive. But they painted it all. It was just hard to look past. Okay, look at that, Andy. That was a fieldstone fireplace, and they painted it white. I think that looks pretty good.
I'll always look at it as being a white painted fireplace, but
I don't know. I think they did
I would have framed over it. Like if you wanted to save the stone, I would have framed over and did like shiplap or something, or you know what I mean? Just if you want a different look.
So here's the kitchen. It's just not that big for that size of a house. The kitchen was kind of underwhelming. It's underwhelming. See right there.
Yeah.
So a house like that usually has a monster kitchen, but
nice.
I don't know.
Nice stove there, but that
it's well worth the money. It just it needs to people need to get past the fact that it sold for $2 million 2 years ago, and that it's just a lot of upkeep.
But 2 years ago, what did it look like, Chris? That it needed updating, you said?
Yeah, they did a really nice job.
Okay.
They really did. So, but it still needs, you have some of those older tiles and stuff like that. You start replacing that. It's actually got a sprinkler system in it too, in the house. So you have to upkeep that. So
those are good and bad, man, because all of a sudden you have one mishap and all of a sudden you create $2 million insurance claim.
Yeah.
Because your whole house floods.
Yeah, true.
See, I don't know. To me, I'm the first guy that, yes, you save somebody's life, probably good. That's what it's about. But from a sheer preserving the property perspective, you almost want to just let it burn down. You know what I mean? Because, by the time they flood it, now you got flood insurance or whatever, and you got to gut everything, and they'll want you to save the house because it's just got wet. And
it reminds me of a story I had at a listing, and this guy's just like, I was saying, you might want to do this. And he goes, God, I just wish it would burn down. I said, well, I got a guy. And he goes, you do? And I'm like, no, I do not have a guy. I'm joking. I am joking.
Yeah. That's the kind of talk you and I have, but not with customers.
Yeah, exactly. That's prison time. So
yeah.
All right. What's next, Nicholas?
The social media reacts. This guy's kind of interesting.
And never go to a Chase or something like that unless you just got a super high credit score.
Is this real estate specific?
Yeah, real estate specific. You want to go to a local area because what's happening is this. Let's say a new bank opens up. They need business, right? So they got to get business on their books. So they're going to be clamoring, trying to get at you, at least in the real estate space.
And they're going to give you some of the best deals.
They're going to give you some of the best deals, best rates, and they're going to work with you. Like if you, to me, I'm going to tell you guys this. I call myself Derek Ford. I told y'all, man, when you don't know something and somebody, to me, is genuine, they're going to educate you. Mm-hmm. They know what you're trying to do. You may not know the vernacular. You may not know what you need to know, but they're going to take the time to sit you down. Hey, come on in my office. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how to get you there. And I mean a lot to me. Mitch did that for me. You know, so he educated me on how to get this money. He educated me on what to do once I did get the loan closed and things like that. So he helped me set up a lot of things in that space, man. I'm not intelligent to people around me.
Huh. 1000% agree. You got to have someone that's willing to work with you, that's going to be a little more aggressive, kind of look outside the box, believe in what you're doing, because you need all of that to be able to get that extra money that you're going to do. Show them, come in. So let's just say you've done some stuff, put your projects together, show exactly what you've done, and then go into local banks and meet with them and see who fits you better, because all those local banks want deposits too. It's a big thing. They got to get deposits.
I was going to say, you and I have talked about this for years, how it's like 80% of the paychecks that are in America are deposited into the big 5 banks. The big 5 banks aren't going to give you a loan when you want to build your business. It's the local little guys that will give you that business loan like he just talked about. They sit down and talk with you. They treat you like a human. They actually want to know what your project is because they want to invest in that project too. And it's a whole different – it's frustrating. I don't know how to win that game, because I still have people that come in and will say like, well, I go to this bank, so I want to get a mortgage with them. I'm like, why? Why would you want to pay more to get that, ease of having one statement? Who cares? Have 2 statements. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, right. No, I agree. I 100% agree.
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick. They're savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick.
Did you read that, Andy?
Yeah. Basically, people are doing it for entertainment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why, it struggles, man. The real estate agents, most people don't know this. I'm just going to take the old cover off here, and you can see what happens behind Oz. Companies like Zillow put stuff out there for you as a consumer to click on it because you see value in it, right? Like, oh, there's information and nobody's going to bug me. And then the second you click request a showing, your name gets sold. I don't care what you want to say. I don't care how they defend themselves. They sell your information to somebody who needs a sale or that wants to pay for leads, okay? The customers they don't have now, Zillow provides them with that lead and charges a ton of money. So you're going to have aggressive process there where it's just, and it's like people do it for entertainment. So then what happens is a lot of these bigger teams will buy like all the leads in this area and they have to hire new agents, and the new agents don't even know, and they call them Zillow agents now, even though they're not with Zillow. They're just, that's what they're nicknamed. And people say it to me all the time. They're like, hey, we're looking at houses, but we'll just have a Zillow agent show it to us, so we don't want to bug you. And I'm like, what do you mean a Zillow agent? And they use them. And it's a very sad, and here's the reality of it. Now, a lot of those big teams have to pay a percentage back to Zillow. I don't know why this isn't completely disclosed on the front page of Zillow, because they'd make us disclose it. And those teams have to charge you full margins. So anytime you go online and you pay somebody for a referral, I want a good agent, I want a good whatever, you're never going to get a deal. You're always going to pay full retail. You're going to pay the 7% or the 6.5% or whatever it is, because they have to give a percentage of their sale back to the lead source. So anyway, just be careful. If you want a deal, don't go online. Go and talk to your friends and family, find a good real estate agent, a local one, or whatever. Call somebody like Chris or myself, and we'll take good care of you.
Deals? What are deals?
I don't know.
It's representing them good, yeah.
Well, sure. Think about this. Let's say that somebody does charge you the same fee, but now you save $15,000 or $20,000 on buying that house because you hired a good agent that actually knows how to negotiate, knows how to chew gum and talk at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
It'll keep you out of trouble,
yeah.
Or look for things that keep you out of trouble or not cost you money.
I live to cut deals. That's my favorite thing to do for people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, we're going to go back to our little Minnesota Lake segment, Andy. So I got this one up here. I've never heard of this one, actually. Millie Lax Lake.
Millie Lax. Oh my! You haven't heard this one for too long. You have been. Jeez, he's got.
Have you guys ever seen that skit where the guy's on there and he goes, "Hey, Aaron. Hey, Aaron." He goes, Aaron.
Hey, Andy. Have you ever heard of the Pacific Ocean?
Yes.
Nick knows that stuff. That's where he's from.
He only does oceans.
We got to get him back to the U.S.
Mille Lacs Lake. What a wonderful walleye factory that is.
It's like an ocean.
And that's all I know. Just kidding. No, the lake is huge. It's a bigger, shallow lake. It's notoriously known for walleyes. There used to be some affordable housing around the lake, so you could actually have a cabin on Mille Lacs. And the big thing is that depending on the side of the lake that you're on, you can have brutal weather. I think that's the biggest thing, being it's a big bowl. Once the weather comes from one direction, the other side of the lake, it's day kind of really windy and ruined. So if you're into sitting on the beach, there's not a lot of places to hide unless you're on the right side of the lake, before the wind hits it side of the lake. A lot of restaurants, the casinos, a lot of fun. I've enjoyed many of days fishing out there myself. And like we said, lots of resorts, lots of ways to experience the lake. Real estate wise, I'm not as familiar, but I've helped a couple people buy up there, and we've been buying places under 400,000 on the lake. So, and that was a couple years back here. So I'm sure
it's 132,000 acres.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. It's like an ocean.
Yeah. Andy, so what areas you talking about are the best to buy in? Nichols, Garrison, Vineland, what side?
Well, as people come into the lake, they kind of look at it like, think lazy. I don't want to walk real far. So as they're coming up from the cities, they go through Onemia or whatever, and they're hitting the bottom of the lake there. Anything up that bottom and around the bottom side of the lake is very popular because it's easy to get to. And then the more affordable stuff is on the far side, on the from what I've been told, up there in the Malmo, that kind of up on that side of the lake. Not as easy to get to, a little more of a chore to get there, but that's what makes it more affordable, because people will pay for convenience, right, Chris?
Yes, they will. As a
comparison, I should really read our notes before the show, so I'm prepared.
As a comparison for the Lake Minnetonka, it's 14,528 acres. This is 134,000.
Well, have you ever been out on Mille Lacs? You literally can go out there and you cannot see shore.
It's scary. I know, it's scary.
You feel like
scary.
You're in the
it's
ocean,
always wavy and
yeah.
I don't like it.
Well, the thing is that the lake, I don't remember the average depth, but it's like it's not that deep either. It's a big shallow lake. So I don't know. A lot of times you're out on that lake with 4-foot rollers, and it's just, you got to have a good boat.
Yeah. I don't like that.
One of my closers actually has a place up there. They have that she stays at a converted resort, and then they bought one of those the Sea-Doo pontoons, the tri-toons. Have you guys seen those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they say that it's great because it can handle the big waves, and they go out there on the right days, and they can have a lot of fun pulling their kids tubing and whatever else. And but on the windy days where it's coming at you, it's a bear.
Yeah,
those are the days you do indoor activities.
That's those little short pontoons, kind of.
Well, they're 22 footers, I think, with 230 or 60 horse engines on them. Yeah, they roll.
Oh wow! Okay. All right.
You guys saw that Ludwig comment, right? They got the strict fishing regulations.
Yeah.
They do, and then there's always the big
the tribes
with the reservation that's up there, and they could come in there and gill net and blah blah blah. And I just didn't want to get into that because I don't think it has any relevance on our show. But there's a lot of political pressure up there from the state and the reservation and their rights, and it's stuff that I don't know, and so that's why I don't really comment on it. But I think that if you bought a house on that lake to go walleye fishing and you can't keep your walleyes, I think that's and for a couple of years that's been the case. But now the walleye population, I guess, has come back just fantastic. I've heard all good reports up there all year long. So,
all right, what do you guys got on the market here? Anything exciting that the audience should know about?
We got lots of stuff, lots of fun stuff. Good stuff. Got a brand new renovated one on the lake. Only 2.2 million, Andy. It's not bad.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. 4,000 square foot walkout rambler on 150 feet of lakeshore on Prior Lake. Got a couple on acreage that are freaking really nice. I mean, it's crazy. I think the prices are really good too. One's got it's got a separate outbuilding, a pool, acreage, big 2-story, another big 2-story, a territory. Got a super cool detached villa. I still got that one listed, Andy. We're close on it over by Stulpus. We're close.
Oh, gotcha.
We thought we got her done here during the parade, but
they're a great floor plan too. That unit is.
Yeah. Oh, I know. They're really. Have you been there? Have you visited?
Yeah.
Okay. Next time you got to just go a little farther and come to Prior Lake.
I've heard you're close.
Yeah.
I usually hit the Lions tap and get out.
Yeah, it's smart. You cross that river, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
It's
fun. That little spot there too. If you're really, and I'm saying this from a cool perspective, if you like aircraft and you're really into that, they've got some really spectacular views because it's right kind of at the beginning of the airport where the planes are slowly coming in and coming down, and so it's cool. I mean, you can see some of these jets and some of these older vintage planes, and I don't know, they must have
smaller planes.
A lot of smaller planes, yes.
It's not a 757 coming in, but
no.
It's kind of cool.
It's all little stuff. Like you wave at the pilot as they fly by.
And then they tip their wings and wave at you.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, my buddy that lives over there, getting off track here, really off track. They put out corn and the mineral blocks, and they have some of the biggest deer and turkeys, and it's unbelievable the wildlife they have right in their backyard there.
Oh yeah, that all goes right onto the river right back in there. So, yep.
That's awesome. For my stuff, if you go to Prasky.com, my last name, Prasky.com, I have a whole bunch of stuff coming right now too. I've got a new listing, a Rambler coming out in Woodbury in a cul-de-sac, and that'll be really affordable. I think it's under $4 in an existing neighborhood. So if you work over at 3M or you're close to that area, it's really nice and right across the road from all the big shopping fun stuff. In the distance, it's convenient, but it's not too close. You're not like listening to car doors. I've got some stuff coming in Anoka. I've got stuff coming in Blaine. I have stuff coming in Champlin. So a lot of right now I'm helping a lot of families. I just got rid of a beautiful house up in Ramsey. And the thing is that right now I'm seeing a lot of people that are saying, you know what, we've kind of been watching the market, the wavy market, and we're ready to make our move. And so a lot of times I'm helping people now getting ready for the spring market, where we're giving suggestions. Hey, before it gets too cold outside, let's, tune this up or touch that up. And then on the inside, let's do the following items. And then, Super Bowl Sunday, let's get this listed. And that seems to be the launch of the spring market. And I definitely think, with rates going kind of up to a level where we're not used to, and with the market inventory being lower, it really is starting to feel like we're going back to more of a cyclical, normal cycle of business, which can be refreshing in a lot of ways, because then we can anticipate things, we can plan ahead. It's easier to make a plan, and I don't know. This whole interest rate thing, I think it's got to pop at some point in time, but like, where does it land? I don't know. But complain. Tell people that matter.
The word in Brazil for relax and chill and Hakuna Matata. Beleza. Everything will be okay.
I heard that all the time, Andy. Beleza.
I hear that all the time in my office.
Nick's got his last regular season game this weekend, I think.
Oh, yeah? Right? Who do you play?
I don't know. This team's not that good, so
you didn't spend a lot of time scouting them?
No, but we have playoffs coming after this, and it's going to be a grind, but it'll be exciting. So,
just for the record, I still haven't gotten my hat from Chris, but I'm sure you paid good money for it, Nick, and I appreciate you thinking of me.
You're going to have to give it to Lisa because it doesn't fit our heads. They make them small in Brazil. So
the story of my life.
Well, you can put it next to your preferred home team sign. Yep.
Hey, I give these out all the time. These are my favorites. These they're nice hats. Wow. The whatever they are. The Richard hats. Oh yeah, this one right here. This brand.
Yeah,
problem is that this is for normal size heads. I need an 8, 7 7/8, right? So if anybody buys or sells a house, you get a free hat. That's my offer today. What else will I throw in? I'll throw in
his walking billboard. His walking billboard.
Yeah. I don't have anything else I can sell you.
All right.
Guys, click the link, okay? Our websites are on there. Everywhere we're located, all the different content, click it. Check out things we have going on our own personal websites. Leave us a review, Spotify, iTunes. You can subscribe on the YouTube and give us likes on the Facebook. Another great day. Send in any questions you have.
You got problems.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.